Energy clearing is one of the things that I love and I use in my everyday life. And the reason why clearing energy is something that we need to use every day is because there are so many unseen energies that are lurking around us all the time. So basically, our thoughts and our feelings and our moods all have like a residue. And because we are all naturally psychic, we are born psychic, we've got our human body and we've also got our being and we've got our soul that streams on through. But because we are energetic, we can leave residue behind in different places and it can get trapped. So I'm going to share with you today some of the basics that I use when it comes to clearing my energy for my body and for my business, for my family, for my home, for my clients and all that type of stuff. And the reason why this is important is because if a residue is left behind from maybe a spirit who lived in the home that you're living in now, it can get trapped in there and you can feel it and you can potentially take it on as your own. So it could be a feeling of frustration or anger or sickness, or trauma or grief. And you might be like, why am I feeling this way? Because you could be potentially empathing on that spirit's residue. And I call these ghosts. Like it's a reoccurring theme that is kind of locked in a home. Recently, I cleared a client's home with her, and there was literally these residues trapped that she was feeling. And she found herself on the ground crying, having a full-blown tantrum, and she didn't know why. And it's because of the ghost, the energy that was left in the home. So that's one reason why it's so important to clear energies, especially when you're doing readings and tapping into your psychic mediumship channeling abilities. Now, as a human who has a being, like we're a human and a being and a soul, we are mixing with people, humans all the time, and they all have big beings as well. So we can be walking past somebody on the street and our auras, or even at school pickup, and our auras are actually mixing together. We can pick up residues of other people. We can be having a session with a client or talking to our sister on the phone or whatever, and it might be some like trauma or some grief, or it could be something like I don't know, like relationship issues. And all of a sudden, if we're not clearing that, we're not cutting those cords and doing all the things that I'm about to tell you, we can actually take that on as our own. So we can take on other people's thoughts, we can take on their feelings, we can take on their beliefs. And this is why energy clearing is so important. So here are some of the things that I do personally. So when I wake up, I always put my hand on my heart and I ask and I set the intention for my angels, my spirit teams, and my guides and ancestors to guide my day with the easiest path of least resistance. I ask that and I set that intention and I sit in the energy of gratitude. Now, this sounds like intention setting, which it is, but it's also a clearing of your energy, because then you're actually asking the spirit team to come in and the angels to clear your energy. And you can say, I invite you and I ask you to clear my energy now. I call this stepping into my morning vortex. I step into a vortex and then I carry on in this light gratitude vortex all day, which keeps me and my energy clear. Okay. So that's one thing that I do. Another thing that I do is every night I cut my cords. I visualize and I call in Archangel Michael, my higher self, or whoever I'm like working with at the time, to cut all cord ties from today that have attached that are no longer in service to me or those that they were connected to. Now, I visualize big scissors cutting, or Archangel Michael coming with his sword and cutting. Sometimes I'm like literally cutting or holding spaces on my body. And then I'm often like flicking it down to the ground, flicking around down to the ground, saying, who does this belong to? Return to sender with consciousness, visualizing those cords being cut. Now, there's many ways you can do this. A couple I've just described, but water is another way for me. So I go to the water most days. Sometimes I have like 2 showers and 2 spas and go to the beach twice. Some days it's just once. And what I do is I cut the cords while I'm in the water. So this is my intention. When I go to the water, I'm cleansing and I'm clearing my energy. And I let the waves, the ocean, take it away, and I let the water cleanse me like a baptism type of energy. If you have a specific person that you need to cut the cords from, maybe you just had an intensive client session or an intensive conversation with somebody, and you can feel that you're deeply ingrained in their energy, even if you're not with them, right? Because we're energetic beings. We can literally travel and we're so big. What I do is I actually more intentionally clear my energy by visualizing my third eye connected to their third eye, or my heart connected to their heart, and cutting those ties. Now, this has been very beneficial for one of my clients, who's also my friend, who is a nurse. She was getting so frustrated and really adopting the energy of her colleagues, and it was very, very negative behavior. And she wasn't able to shake it when she was going home to her family. So her family was kind of suffering because she was suffering. So she got these, she said, Victoria, I've got the biggest pair of scissors and I cut the cords. Now, this is energy clearing. And visualize those cords just kind of spiraling in front of me and going back into me. So my energy, my aura is clear. Another way of doing this is sweeping your energy. And we see this in the practice of Reiki. After we do any type of hands-on modality, you can often see people shaking down, brushing off the energy from their body, and then putting their hands on the ground. Another way of doing it. Another thing I told you, I was just going to like tell you all these different things now. So take what you want, and you might need to listen to this video again. It's kind of big. Another thing I do is I use Paleo Santo. I use white sage. I use candles and crystals. And this is all to raise the vibration. I want to make it very clear that energy clearing is different to entity clearing. So to raise the vibration is an important thing to do. And we can do it with special tools like crystals and obviously candles, and like I just said, white sage and Paleo Santo. We can also do it with pendulums. So what do you want to do? How do you clear your space? Okay. My favorite one is to do a light burst, a light blast. I just go poof, and I say, anything that is not here energetically aligned, leave this room immediately. And I know that my intention and being in my power is enough for any energy and residue to leave. And I ask it to go to source light, to go to higher consciousness, to be healed and transmuted. I also like to use energy clearing statements. So what I like to do is say any expectations, any projections throughout all time, spaces, and dimensions that are not here in alignment with my chosen path and those who are with me, to leave immediately. So this works very well with energy. So it's creating a statement, it's using your hands, it's using your light, it's using tools, it's using the archangels, it's cutting the cord ties, it's setting the intention of gratitude and love. And this sets you up for absolute mastery of your mediumship. Make this a devotion practice. In the morning, start with gratitude. In the evening, finish with cutting off those cord ties, or maybe having a shower and rinsing off all of the energy of the day and setting that intention. I want you to write down any of your favorites that I've shared with you today, or any of those that I haven't shared today that you want to use when it comes to energy clearing.